What went into the decision-making to go for 2 instead of just...
Try to win the game right there. We were pretty much out of corners, at that point in time. So there's an opportunity to try to win the game right there.
No, it did not. They aggressively play analytics. And so, from that standpoint, they're predictable.
They aggressively. No, I was not surprised. No.
Let's start with the last play. Let's start with the last play. I liked it.
Camera. No.
But let's start with the last play. Let's start or the 2-point conversion attempt. I liked it, and I like it more. Tell me if this makes sense. I like it more because they didn't get it. Let's say that again.
Okay,
I like it more because they didn't get it. Because to Tomlin's point, when you have a certain way to.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. When you approach the game a certain way, you live with the results. First of all, it was a well-designed play. Andrews was open.
It was great.
Give props.
It was
great.
Right.
Give props to T.J. Watt, one of his, dozen pressures that he had yesterday. He messes up the play or F's up the play, and Lamar throws a bad pass. It was the right call. Marlon Humphrey had gone down. You got a chance to win the game and not messing around with a coin toss or first possession or field goal, none of that crap. Okay, even though you got Justin Tucker, you probably would have made the extra point. And I think, speaking of analytics, here's what's interesting about it. If I'm not mistaken, Next Gen Stats said that their model suggested that they should have kicked the extra point and played for overtime. I believe that to be the case.
Yeah.
But instead, I like them. I love them going for 2, and I love them missing it because I know that John Harbaugh, I beg your pardon, will not be dissuaded from going for it the next time an opportunity presents itself.
Okay, I don't like it. I don't like it based on...
Even though it would increase their win probability by 7.6%? Or that's actually if they had kicked the extra point. Kicking the extra point would have increased their win probability by 7.6%.
I love this, by the way. This is a different. Here's the 9 years between us, because I remember. So this is before your time. It was like a
that looked like a 10-yard fight. 10-yard fight. I remember that game.
Oh, okay. Oh, 10-yard fight. Even before 10-yard fight, even before that, there was this little game. Used to plug it in. Yeah. And the board would shake.
Oh, I remember.
Put the little pieces on the board. Oh, it was great.
That, yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, I remember that.
I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I had that, and I was like 10.
Might have just been football.
So look, man, what you said, I agree with. What John Harbaugh said suggests that he wouldn't have done it if the corners were healthy. So wait a minute. So now let's go back. If the corners are healthy, you're not going for it. So this is not an analytical decision. This was not about analytics. This was about attrition.
More gut. Yeah, or just
maybe
gut.
It's just like I can't stop these guys. But then, see, this takes me down a rabbit hole. That's why I don't like his answer. What I'm trying to tell you is I didn't like his answer at all, because now I start thinking about a lot of things. Wait a minute. All right, so you know who's going to get the ball first? You go into overtime, so they get the ball first. You don't know that. It's a coin flip. And they're going to get the ball first. They're going to score a touchdown? You mean you have you can't stop their receivers? You can't come up with, you're the Baltimore Ravens. You got versatile players. You're one of the best coaches in football. You mean to tell me you're out of corners, therefore you can't stop them? You
stop
believe in
the Pittsburgh Steelers of all teams. You can't stop Pittsburgh?
Right.
Yeah.
You believe in Roethlisberger. You believe in Roethlisberger that much. You've seen him about 100 times. You know all of his tendencies. So the answer really sent me down this.
You're right. And that's one of those say less, and not in the context that the kid said, but it's like just say had an opportunity to win the game. Because Michael Smith, speaking in third person, Michael Smith likes three-pointers for the win on the road. And Michael Smith likes 2-point conversions when you got a chance to win at the end of regulation. Mike Vrabel would have gone for that. You know Mike Vrabel would have gone for 2. Like, I like the call, independent of his convoluted explanation yesterday. I like the call to try to go for the win and not play for overtime when you're right there. With all that better execution, you win the game.
Well, I was going to say, with all that said, brilliantly designed play. I mean, it's a great play. And Tony Dungy did a really good job last night of breaking this down. And he said on the play design, you're trying to fool 2 guys You're trying to fool Minka Fitzpatrick and trying to fool T.J. Watt. You fool one of them. Because Fitzpatrick, that's his guy. That's his guy.
Yeah.
And he was sitting there looking in the backfield.
The other one just messed up the game. The other one had 3.5 sacks and I think a dozen pressures and is on pace to break Strahan's single-season record. Over the weekend, the most obvious story was made into front-page news, which was that this is Ben Roethlisberger's last season in Pittsburgh. Because the bigger story to me would be if somebody had said it's not his last season in Pittsburgh. I mean, that's the story. I mean, you're like, oh, Ben Roethlisberger will be back next year. It's like, boy, what? You know?
Really? Okay.
But yesterday, Big Ben looked like he's still ticking. Because he had 200-something yards and 2 touchdowns, and he should have had a third. That was a pretty ball he threw to Deontay Johnson, who dropped it for another touchdown. So, look, man, I know I'm telling the terrible towel-waving Michael Holley something that he already knows, but to discount that dude's team, you know, especially the attitude they approached the week with, putting on the pads, was a mistake on my part and anybody else that decided to write off the Pittsburgh Steelers prematurely.
But hold on. And you know, on this story, and let's go back to Roethlisberger for a second. And, you know, of course, Mike Tomlin. I love Mike Tomlin quotes. You know, just, you know, favorite poets, you know, my ongoing favorite poets list, Robert Hayden, Terrence Hayes, Mike Tomlin. You know, you just always come up with something that you haven't thought of before. Then the story said, the story was that it's his last season in Pittsburgh, not his last season.
I picked up on that. It said in Pittsburgh. And I'm like, I don't know who was thinking about signing
Thomas said, I thought
he
it was
was
funny.
going somewhere else. Yeah.
Nobody said he was retiring. It said it was his last season in Pittsburgh. And I can't imagine. I should get used to it. Now I see Tom Brady in a Buccaneers uniform. We saw Joe Montana in a Chiefs uniform. Brett Favre all over the place. It was a Jet. He was a Viking. It shouldn't be shocking. But this is one
but
I just can't imagine.
Play, though. They could still play a little bit at a higher level than Ben has shown. And Ben looked. I just said out of one side of my mouth, Ben was ticking.
I know.
Big Ben was still ticking yesterday. I don't think that Ben can play at a high enough level where there's going to be a market for him elsewhere. Not to mention, if you're Ben, do you want to pick up and start over somewhere else? When wherever you go, that team the clock is going to be ticking on Big Ben to pass the torch to whatever quarterback they draft. So you're either getting replaced in Pittsburgh or you're getting replaced somewhere else. That's how it's going to go for Big Ben.
It's just so weird.
In the meantime,
it's like,
he may not be done winning the AFC North the way this season is going.
I'm not going to go that far. I think they got a long way to go. And they happen to match up with Baltimore historically. Those games are always close. Those games are memorable. They don't match up with the rest of the division all that well, particularly Cincinnati. Cincinnati had its way with Pittsburgh in 2 games this year. So, and they already got to win over Cleveland. They got to win over Cleveland.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't think they're divisional favorites. I'd be shocked if they win the division.
I wouldn't say favorites, but at this point,
I'll be shocked if they win it.
Nothing would surprise me. I know you still got Baltimore.
That would.
I know you still got
That
Baltimore.
would surprise me. Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.